Thank you, Anthony, for that wonderful introduction. So, I'm going to talk today about the importance of genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. So some objectives for today are to recognize what GMOs are, understand the future impacts of genetically modified foods, understand the importance and benefits of GMOs, and recognize what the different genetically modified organisms are and their benefits. So just a little bit of history. Scientists have been kind of toying with GMOs since the late 1980s, and since the 1980s, genetically modified organisms, they've been figuring out how to put in like their DNA and how to remove and substitute part of it. In 1982, the first approved genetically modified organism was approved by the FDA, and that was insulin. A little bit of background information. So does anybody know how we'll produce 70% more food by 2050? Yes?
Teaching people how to grow it themselves.
Close. So Science Daily and the Research Council of Norway say that by 2050 we need to produce more than 70% of the food we're growing now, and to do that we have to do it using GMOs. So what genetically modified organisms are, it's mainly plants that are genetically modified, but there are animals. And what scientists do are they add, remove, or substitute part of their DNA with other species' DNA in order to help them withstand harsh conditions like weather, pests, and invasive species. So just some examples of GMOs. Bacillus thuringiensis, which is BT corn. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about BT corn. Scientists actually insert a protein into the corn's DNA, and what this protein does is it targets insects, and these insects have receptors on the inside of their gut, and so the protein is receptor mediated, and when it binds to the receptors in the insect's gut, it actually inhibits the insect from being able to eat anything else, so the insect ends up dying. Humans don't have these receptors on our guts, so it's not harmful to us. That's why we're able to eat BT corn and still survive. More examples. So goat's milk has actually been used. Scientists have created the drug Atrin, and what this is, it's an anticoagulant that is used to decrease blood clots during surgery, and it was actually introduced in order to help people with a rare blood clotting disease, so they could have blood flow normally. Also, there's a strain of mosquitoes that has been produced to resist malaria, and so this could lead to less use of harmful chemicals like DDT. Some benefits of GMOs are obviously medicine. The hepatitis B vaccination was created from GMOs. Also, edible vaccines. So this is really important for countries who don't have the necessary supplies for like refrigeration, so they can get vaccines through edible means. Also, animals are used for research of human diseases and also growing tissues for human implants. Bacteria is used for insulin, or for diabetics, and growth hormones for treat dwarfism. More benefits, they're very cost effective, so GMOs produce a higher quantity per harvest, and therefore you would use less amount of land per, so you'd produce higher quantities for the decreased amount of land you would use. GMOs can also be enriched with vitamins and minerals, and so this is really important for people who may not be able to get different vitamins and minerals from just daily life. This is an example. This is golden rice, which is enriched with vitamin A, and so people can choose to get golden rice to get their vitamin A. Public view on GMOs. So 88% of scientists believe that GMOs are safe. However, only 37% of the public agrees with them. So there's that void between what scientists think and what the actual public thinks. And GMOs have found not to be harmful to humans. All the GMOs that are out on the market are not harmful to humans. They're safe to eat. And the FDA actually regulates genetically engineered crops just like they do any other crops. And according to the FDA, it's actually unlawful to produce, process, store, ship, or sell to consumers unsafe food. So in conclusion, GMOs, most of them aren't different in appearance, texture, or even mostly taste. And the only way to know if you're actually eating non-GMO is to eat organic. Organic regulations say that you cannot use GMOs whatsoever. It's the consumer's choice to choose whether they want to eat GMOs or not, what kind of foods they want to consume. Consumers should also be aware of what they're talking about and be aware of the different articles they're reading and make sure it's from a credible source. So, are there any questions?
Have you ever heard of the bananas situation?
Bananas?
That happened in the 1920s, I think.
No, I hadn't.
Well, we think that bananas are organic, but in actuality, they're all GMOs.
Really?
Because the bananas had gotten this really bad disease back in the 1920s, and it was almost like a world crisis. So America actually stopped selling bananas for an extended period of time, and they actually made songs about it. Like, you know, it was I can't remember her name. She was a African American artist. She it might have been Dorothy Dandridge. She came out with a song about "There's no more bananas." So you can probably YouTube it, but yeah, it was speaking about that time period where, you know, the bananas had gotten that disease, and they had to figure out how they were going to get the bananas to start growing again.
I hadn't even heard of that.
There's actually one on a YouTube video on the evolution of bananas, and like it talked about the whole history and how we're actually coming close to having to find a new type of banana.
Wow. I hadn't even read that. Okay, well, thank you for your time.